In this video, we're going to learn how we can create an e-commerce report using BigQuery. We're going to use Porter metrics to send all the information from our marketing data platforms to Google BigQuery. Then we're going to connect our Google BigQuery tables to Looker Studio so that way we can create our dashboard. So let's go into Porter metrics and start with the process. Now I am here in portermetrics.com and I'm going to enter my account. Remember that we have a free 14 days trial with all the features and after that a free forever plan. That's why I'm showing you this way to create your report using Google BigQuery. Of course, you can connect all your marketing data information to Google BigQuery manually, but that will require you a lot of time, a lot of headaches. But using Porter, you will have your data available in BigQuery just in minutes. That's why I'm showing you this way because it's a lot faster. So let's go. As soon as you log in, you have to click on Create. Then you click on BigQuery. Then you select the data sources for your connection. In this case, I'm going to select Meta Ads, Google Analytics, Google Ads, Shopify, and TikTok Ads. Then I'm going to click on Next. Now I'm going to name this connection. I'm going to call it Ecom Report Data. And after, I will have to connect the accounts from each data source that I selected in the previous step. Let's start with Meta Ads. As soon as you click on Connect Accounts, you're going to see all the accounts connected to this Porter profile. You can add new accounts here in the purple button, or you can search for a specific account and select it. Then you click on Save, and you do the same for all the other data sources. You can select as many accounts as you want. I'm going to do the same for Google Analytics. I select my account, I save it. Same for Google Ads, select my account, save it. Same for Shopify and TikTok Ads. Now I'm going to click on Next. Here in the data sources section, you don't have to change anything. That section only displays the data sources we selected in the previous step. And now we're going to click on BigQuery. In this step, we are going to select the Google Cloud account we want to send the table we are creating. When you click on Choose Account, the dropdown will display all the Google Cloud accounts connected to this Porter profile. In this case, I'm going to select mine, Santiago Cardoso. You can click on Add Account to add a new Google Cloud account to this Porter metrics profile. Now I'm going to select my project ID. When I click on the dropdown, you will see all the projects that are under the Google Cloud account that you selected. In my case, I have two projects inside my Google Cloud account. One that is called My First Project and another one that is called Marketing Data Test Project. Now I'm going to select my dataset location. For this example, I'm going to choose US multi-region. If you don't know which dataset location you should choose, I recommend you go and check out the video we already did around this specific step so you understand which one you should pick. For this example, I will remain with US multi-region. Now I'm going to select my dataset, and the dropdown will display the datasets that are under the project ID that I selected. In this case, you can see that I have three datasets: Ecom Report Data, Marketing Ads, Test Dataset, and at the end, there's an option called Create New. If I click on Create New, what I will be doing is that I'm going to create a new dataset inside that project ID. In this case, Marketing Data Test Project. You can either choose an existing dataset or create a new one. And you can create the dataset from here, or if you're inside your Google BigQuery account in datasets, you can go and click on Create Dataset, and you can fill out the dataset ID, the data location, and create a dataset. That way, if you create it inside Google BigQuery, then you will see it displayed inside Porter. For now, I'm just going to go with Ecom Report Data, and I'm going to give a name to this new table that I'm going to ingest into this Ecom Report Data dataset. That in this case is going to be conversion rates. Now let's go and select the metrics that we want to be displayed in this new table. We click on metrics. And remember that metrics are essentially numbers. Anything that you can count is a metric. Anything that has a value is a metric. So in this step, we're going to select exactly that. Which columns in this new table we are creating will be metrics. I'm going to select Shopify orders, blended new customer orders, blended new customers, and GA4 sessions. You can see that in the left panel, as you go adding metrics and dimensions in the next steps, you can see in the left panel a preview of the table we are creating. Now I'm going to create a custom metric. So I will click on Create Metric. And as soon as I do that, I will be able to prompt in natural language what's the calculation that I want to run. And then AI will help me doing the regular expression so that we can create this new column or this new metric. So in this case, I'm going to create a metric for conversion rate. And essentially will be divide blended orders by GA4 sessions, because I want to know how many people that did a session actually end up doing an order in my site. Then I say, hey, this is a percentage. So the regular expression understands what is the calculation it needs to be done. And I click on the arrow. As soon as I click in the arrow, in the box at the bottom left, there's the formula that the AI helped us create. And in the right, we can see a preview of the table with the calculation. I can go to Format and select that this is going to be a percentage, so that we can add the symbol there. And now we click on Create. All right, so now we have our custom metric and it's time to add dimensions. Remember that dimensions, it's the way we break down our data. So it's the way we categorize or we make groups around our data. In this case, I'm gonna select date as a dimension, so I can know how many orders did I get each day. Then I'm gonna select my date range. I can pick last 7 days, last 14 days, last 30 days, this year to date, whatever period I have. In this case, I'm going to select this year to date. And now I'm going to select a filter. In this case, I'm not going to apply a filter right now. Now I'm going to apply the sorting. So I'm gonna apply the sorting by date. Then I'm gonna order it in a descending way. So the most recent date appears at the top and the latest one at the bottom. Now I refresh my table. And now I will set up at what time or how often I want this table to be refreshed or backfill. You can do this by just typing in natural language whenever you want this to happen. In my case, I'm just going to go with every day at 5 a.m. So every day at 5 a.m., this table will be refreshed. And now I'm going to select the right modes that I want to apply to this table. In this case, I'm going to choose override. Override, what will essentially do is that will destroy every day the table and rewrite a new table with the data. I recommend you to do this one. If not, if you want to understand better the right modes, I suggest you go and click in the video in the top right corner that we already did around this. And finally, I'm going to click on save. Then I'm going to click on run query. Now I receive a message telling me that the query was successful. So let's go into BigQuery and see if this table that we call conversion rates is already in my Google Cloud account. We are in my Google Cloud account inside the marketing data test project. You can see it here. We are inside datasets, and you can see the three datasets we have right now: marketing report data, marketing ads, and test data. And now I'm going to click on ecom report data. That was the dataset we picked for this new table. And now you can see that there's a new table called conversion rates. If you click on it, you can see the schema details, and if you click on preview, you will see the exact same table we just created by inside Google BigQuery. Now you can see the actual table we just created. Now we're going back to Porter metrics, and we're going to create a new table that we will need for this new report that we are going to create around e-commerce. So let's go back. We are back in Porter. I'm going to click on back. And now you can see that in this connection, we have a query called ecom report data. I'm going to change this name of this table of this query to conversion rates, because that was the final name we gave to this new table. And now we're going to click on new query. We're going to change the name of this new query from ecom report data to ROAS. In the data source section, you will see the same data sources because they remain the same between the conversion rates table we just created and this one that we're going to create now. We click on BigQuery. We select the account, it's going to be my account. We select the project ID, it's going to be the same project ID, marketing data test project. The dataset location, US multi-region. We select the dataset, it will be the same ecom report data because I want all this table to live inside the same dataset. And I'm going to give a new name to this table, it's going to be ROAS data. Awesome. Now I'm going to select my metrics. So I'm going to search for Shopify orders and I add it. I will add Shopify total sales. I will also add blended orders. I will also add Shopify new customers, blended ad spend, and I'm gonna create a custom metric. I will prompt in natural language what I want. In this case, will be divide Shopify total sales by blended ad spend. This way, I can understand what is my ROAS. I will click on the arrow. Now I can see my formula there. I will name this metric, and I will hit on create. Awesome. Now I will select the dimensions. I will choose date. I will leave the same date range as the default will be last 7 days. I will not apply a filter. I will sort the table by date in a descending way. I refresh my table, and now I will schedule how often I want this table to be refreshed. It will be exactly as the previous one, conversion rates every day at 5 a.m. I click on the arrow, and now I select the right mode. I will pick override. I save my query, and now I run my query. It was successful. Let's take a look inside my Google Cloud account to see if that was true. Remember, this was the conversion rates table. You can see it here. I'm going to click on datasets. I'm going to click on the ecom report dataset. And now I see a new table called ROAS data. I click on it, and if I click on preview, I will see the table we just created with last 7 days date range. Now let's see how we can connect these tables to Looker Studio so we can create our dashboards. We are back in the conversion rates query inside Porter metrics, and in the right you see that there's a button that says View in Looker Studio. If you click on that, this table that we created will be sent to Looker Studio. That's the first way that you can connect Looker Studio so that you can create your dashboards. A second option is to create a blank report, a brand new report inside Looker Studio, and do the connections manually. I will show you both so you can decide which one is better. So let's start with this one. We're going to click on View in Looker Studio. As soon as you do that, you will see this pop-up message asking you to review the data access. You acknowledge it, and then you will see this layout with a data source named conversion rates. That was the table we had inside Porter metrics. All the fields inside that table, and this layout. That's automatically, we will change it in a minute. Now let's see the other options. You go to Looker Studio, you click on blank report, you click on BigQuery, you then select my projects, you select the project that contains the tables that we have been creating through the video. In this case, is marketing data test project. You select the dataset. In this case, the dataset that contains the tables of the e-commerce report is ecom report data. And you can see that there are two tables. One is called ROAS data. It was the last one we created, and the conversion rates, the first one. And now you will see in the data panel that the conversion rates table is already there with all of its dimensions. We can connect the other table by clicking in Add Data. We select again BigQuery, my projects, marketing data test project, ecom report data, and now we can select ROAS data. We click on add, and now in the data panel we have two data sources, one that is called ROAS data and the other one called conversion rates. So this is how you can do the connections. What I recommend is that if you create multiple tables, you can connect one of those tables right from Porter Metrics, and then you add the other ones manually to that same report. Because if you don't do it that way, then you will end up with many reports with just one data source, and that's not what you really want. You want probably more than one data source inside just one report. So that's why I recommend that. So let's continue. Now, now let's go back to the report we created out of Porter so we can create some graphics or scorecards. We are back here. So let's start with a scorecard. I'm going to click on it. By default, scorecards are created with the record count metric. But first, I'm going to change the data source link to that scorecard. I will change it to conversion rates. Now you can see here that it says conversion rates. And also I changed the metric. Previously here it said record count, but now it says blended orders. Now in this scorecard, we are seeing the blended orders. Now let's delete this table above. I don't need it. I'm going to copy and paste this scorecard. All right, now it's there, but you see that it says Shopify orders as the title of the scorecard. And that's because the metric, I changed it here from blended orders to Shopify orders. I did that because I wanted to see what's the difference between blended orders and the Shopify orders. Now I'm going to insert a time series chart. So I will go to insert, click on time series chart, and now it's already created. You can see here that the dimension for this time series chart is date, because we want to see how the orders behave during time. And the metric is blended orders. So you can see that in January we were a little bit above 50 orders. Then by February 10 we got to almost 250, a little bit more. So that way we can see how was the behavior of all the orders in our e-commerce. I added a second metric that is in this case Shopify orders, because I want to understand why they are so different. Probably this blended orders is getting orders from another platform, and there's a mismatch there. So you can see that in the chart we have blended orders as the blue line and Shopify orders as the yellow line. And so far, since January 1st until January 25, they were the same. But after January 25, they change. So probably that's something that if I'm the owner of this e-commerce, I would like to know why there's a mismatch, or what is the platform that is telling me something different. Now I'm going to create a new scorecard. I click on insert, I click on scorecard. This time I will change this scorecard data source to the ROAS data, and I will select the ROAS as the metric. Now I'm gonna create a new scorecard. I'm gonna click on insert. I select a scorecard, and I'm gonna change Shopify orders metric for Shopify total sales. That is in the ROAS data. So it says that we have sales of 12,991,000. So let's change the decimals there because I don't want to see it with decimals. I will go here to style. I will change decimal precision from automatic to 0. And now I'm gonna create a new time series chart, but in this case, it's going to be connected to the ROAS table, and it will represent the ROAS over time. And this is how you can create an e-commerce report using BigQuery.